Hello, we had a fan request to talk about target audience and how that affects the games we're creating. And it's really a tough question to answer. I'm probably not the best at marketing games, and also, my games haven't been, overly successful. So I don't know if I'm the best person to give advice, but I'll talk a little bit about how that factors in. Basically, we create games that I want to make, is the short answer. The first thing we think about is how is this something cool? Is this what we want to work on? And so if the answer is yes, then we work on it. But we do have some considerations for audience, and we want to create a games that we do think about how our games are received by the audience. And so, for example, and the question specifically mentioned about Kickstarter, and I think one thing about Kickstarter is it's great to target, underserved underserved areas of the market with your Kickstarter. Like an old game, was this game well received? Does it have fans? Would people like a new experience along those lines? Like, for example, Descent. Descent was very popular. People liked it. Since Descent 3, I don't think there's been anything like it. And so, that's where Descent comes in. It's certainly, Double Fine Adventure is the obvious choice for this. And so, at least when I, was starting on Neverending Nightmares, the horror game audience seemed underserved, and it seemed like a good place to be. Because, all the big budget franchises sort of backed off the horror games, but then obviously the time sort of changed between, when I started working on Neverending Nightmares and when we launched, because, there was Evil Within and Alien Isolation, and, I don't know where the whole Slender thing was when we were working on our game, I don't remember. But then even like Five Nights at Freddy, there's the horror audience is not, underserved, I would say, like when I originally, thought. That's one thing that's tough, is it's tough to, for sure sort of figure out a trend, figure out, what people are missing, because someone else could step in and fill that void before you get a chance to. So, I think that's why, our first thing is creating projects we're passionate about is important, and I think that passion really shows through. But then I think, thinking about your audience and how you can create something that appeals to them is important. So with our next game, we're trying to create something that appeals to the audience of Neverending Nightmares, because Neverending Nightmares was not like a smash hit. It didn't do like amazingly. I'm not like breathing a sigh of relief, but it did much better than Retrograde. It did hopefully well enough that in combination with the Kickstarter, we can fund our next game. So that's sort of my main target audience. But then also I'm looking at, people who are interested in Neverending Nightmares, but were turned off by some aspects. They didn't like the gameplay. They didn't like the length, which is a complicated thing, but one of the things we're doing is just making everything critical path. Because everyone who didn't like the length didn't play the branches, and so it was like, I don't know, there was content there, we didn't present it in the way that they wanted to receive it, I think. And so that's something we can fix on the next game. So that's definitely what we're looking at on our audience. We're also, with the story and the themes of the game, there's going to be sort of a different audience that it addresses, and that might be a turnoff to some people, in terms of the themes and the characters in the setting. We're hopeful it isn't, right? Because, we're hopefully starting with people who are going to give me the benefit of the doubt. These are the people with, who like Neverending Nightmares. So that's sort of the audience we're starting with, the people that give us the benefit of the doubt, and then hopefully we're growing it from there by making, design choices. So, I mean, we're still making the game that I want to make, but, in order to address the people, because in general I don't like the fact that we have a 79% or 80% approval rating on Steam. I mean, obviously it's sad to see, and I don't like it from that perspective, but to me I feel like I've failed 20% of our audience, which, I mean, I think it's all about expectations, what they, expected from the game versus what we wanted to create, and so, I mean, it's not as cut and dry in that, but in general, I would like to create a game that more people who are willing to pay for it are happy with, and so, that's definitely, factored into my consideration. One of the things that I felt like, I was thinking we would move into, like, an even, less powerful player. The asthma mechanic has been, not everyone liked it. And so I was thinking, wow, our next character will be even more fragile and more vulnerable, and that'll really amplify the scares. But certainly with that, you sacrifice, some playability, some ease of use or enjoyable character, and I think that probably we maybe erred on the side of making the player character too weak to the point that it affected some people's enjoyment of the game. So. And while I wouldn't change it for Neverending Nightmares, I think, it did what I wanted it to do. Knowing that we want to make the new character, less vulnerable in some ways, but also keep the scares, we're thinking about, how we can achieve that through game design, and I'm pretty happy with the solutions we've come up with, and it's probably will be an ongoing battle. So, I mean, it's definitely something that will evolve as we develop the game. But I guess the quick answer, or the quick answer, but in general, for our target audience, we're looking at older gamers. I mean, obviously, due to the content of the game, we're targeting 18 plus, and certainly, we're not marketing towards children. We don't really want children to play our games. If you're a teen and you like our games, I mean, that's fine with me, assuming the content is not problematic to you. I mean, so I don't want to set a hard age limit, and say, no one under this age can play our game, but I mean, in general, we demographically, we think that most of the people interested in our game are over the age of 18. I think, our new game, we may skew it a little older in terms of interest. Which, I mean, because, I don't know, can't even remember offhand, 32 at the moment, and, I still play games. I think there's a lot of 30-year-olds playing games, and so, some of the things that the themes and ideas in the next game, might be more appealing to, people who are late 20s, early 30s, or even 40s, 50s, 60s, some issues that people our age face. And, I don't think that hopefully that won't turn off, younger gamers. Hopefully, there's more gamers like I out there who are old farts and still buy games. But it's definitely, there's definitely risks associated with picking an audience or picking any sort of game ideas that you might alienate someone or alienate too many people. So hopefully we didn't. Thanks for watching.